Welcome to my beautiful Selfish Babes joining the Selfish Babes Selfish Talk podcast. I am truly excited to be interviewing the Venusian Goddess herself, Miss Pravala. I'm so excited that she said yes to this interview, and I know that you guys are going to love it. And so, Miss Pravala, will you say hi to our Selfish Babes?
Hi, Selfish Babes. I hope this whatever we're doing today is carrying a message of lavish abundance, and that as you come out of that, you realize that you hold the keys already. You have the full divine entitlement, and you're fully supported by your guides and by the whole cosmic celestial family. So it doesn't matter what happens, and whatever I say, this is already the big message that I have for you.
Ashe, thank you. Yeah. So, Miss Pravala, I want to start off by first letting our audience kind of get to know you. From what I believe, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I believe you grew up in Cameroon. Is that right?
Gabon,
yes. Mm-hmm. Well, would you be able to tell us a little bit about your childhood and about your visits to the river, and just about a little bit about how you grew up, because we want to know that.
Okay, so Gabon is near Cameroon. Mm-hmm. So for that, you're 100% correct. It's a Bantu, part of the Bantu group, which is in sub-Saharan Africa. It's the group that you find in Cameroon, Congo, Gabon, Angola, and other countries as well.
Yeah.
What's very particular about Gabon is that it's tiny, it's small.
Yeah.
And it has 54 ethnic groups with less than 2 million people total.
Okay.
54 ethnic groups, meaning 54 different tribes speaking different languages, which have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah.
So it's 2 million people, 50 plus languages, different types of, just the way we look and the way we even go to, culturally speaking, the way we relate to one another.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know, but during slavery and colonization, the whole African continent was split into arbitrary countries, which actually would not be countries.
Okay.
Basically, they put people that were separate, different from one another together. And that's why, when I go to other countries, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, I would speak the same native language, but we don't speak the same official language. Gabon is very particular as well because it was able to maintain an authentic spirituality.
Okay.
Which basically was a report to the divinity, to God.
Okay.
Which was never taken away from us. So the way we were able to do that was two ways. There were two groups that basically split. The first one decided to take upon religious codes. So Christian codes. So you will see Gabonese people performing our rites, our rituals, but sort of playing it in a theatrical mass, like the way you go to church.
Okay.
So different symbolism, and I have found that in some of my initiations in West Africa, in Santeria as well, where they have actually exported some of the codes of using some saints' names to actually call some of our own ancestors' names.
Yeah.
So that was a way to protect our spirituality, but still be safe during times that were difficult. So carrying, spirituality and divinity using church codes, but then the other part, and which is actually what other spiritualities like voodoo decided to do, which was to demonize ourselves.
Yeah.
So that, I don't want to say the white men, but that's what it was before.
Yeah,
would be scared, basically. So purposefully coming up as bad witchcraft
in
order for them not to come and invade and take our secrets, our relics, our statues, and things like that. So that's why a lot of times you would hear, anything that is not mainstream monotheistic religion being portrayed as evil.
Yeah.
It was actually done on purpose.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So some of the masks, some of the face paints that may look sometimes
scary,
horrific, scary.
Yeah.
were actually the nicest. The nicest divine beings actually portrayed as such. It was a way to shield ourselves. Because what happened, and this is actually a big debate, even here in Europe, all throughout Europe, where we now have a big discussion on all of the museums carrying our statues, from the pharaohs, but also all of the stuff that we use for our spirituality and like the small villages, being the main course, so to speak, of those museums that get millions and millions of people, tourists traveling, so. But
none of that money goes back to where it actually came from.
Exactly. And their argument is basically that Africans did not know how to preserve art, cultural art. So it's basically, the argument is to help us have, keep it, for long generations. So that's the big thing with Gabon. I was never disconnected from my spirituality. And when I come from a tribe, which is known as the Mermaid Tribe, it's called Miene. And basically just because we're along the river and along the ocean.
Okay.
And it was basically one of the ports, the points where, like where the slaves would be basically shipped off. For us, it was mainly Brazil.
Okay.
Because it's across the ocean from us. Places like Senegal, it was more the US and the Caribbean. So growing up, I actually don't even remember how young I was when I started communicating. The first, I would call her a goddess. Some people call her an Orisha. She's really my sister, Oshun. She would probably be, as sub-Saharan African people, our oldest, you say in English, oldest ancestor.
And just for those listening, what's your first language, Miss Pravala?
It's also Miene. The name is Miene.
Yes. I mean, your first language?
Yeah, Miene.
That's the language? Oh, I've never heard of it before.
Well, remember, I told you my country is less than 2 million, and we're split into 50 groups and subgroups. So it's probably 200,000 people speak that language today.
Okay, wow, that's beautiful.
Tiny.
So she's well versed in different languages. So just if she's like, what does it mean in English? I just want you guys to know she has different languages under her belt. That's for my audience. That's for my audience to know when you mentioned that. But you mentioned your first goddess that you communicated with was Oshun. And how would you describe Oshun to our audience?
Okay, as a little girl, Oshun first appeared to me. Okay, let me just explain the scene, how it happened. I used to go, my great-grandmother was actually, everyone in my family is a healer in some sense, meaning that, they do it openly. And my great-grandmother was part of a group which is called Djembe. And Djembe is actually the name that was later on given to a drum. Djembe, which is basically the main instrument we'll use as Miene to call upon our ancestors. Once we open the ceremonials, actually, which is really something that we did every night to open the paths. We use the drums. And the drums were only supposed to be touched by men because it represented Venus, divine feminine, sexual energy, creative energy, and the infinity sign. That is why the djembe drum is unlike other drums that you find, because it's really, really like an 8 shape, with the 2 parts, top and bottom, being the same size, which is not the same as other drums that you find in other cultures, North Africa, places like Morocco. It's different types. So the djembe ceremony or ritual is the first initiation we do as Miene women, because it's a women's only initiation where we are taught how to become women, how to use our sexual energy, what it means, how to connect to earth. We do dance rituals, symbolic dance rituals, symbolic songs and things like that. And my great-grandmother had become one of the leaders in that group. And she was also a healer, which I didn't know back then. I just knew that that must be my assistant.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, you were talking about the djembe drum, and then your grandma being a healer, but you didn't know that she was a healer.
Exactly. So what we would usually do is once a week, usually on Friday, we would go to the forest. And the forest for us is along the beach. So we don't have like the Caribbean postcard type of beach where, it's like the coconut trees and whatever. For us, it's the beach and then dense forest.
Okay.
If you think of our forest, think of the Amazonian forest in Brazil, which is actually, I believe, thousands of years ago, it was the same, because we are, the continents just made one. It's the same forest. It's actually a protected forest as well. Okay. Very dense, very difficult to penetrate. So we would go there once a week, and I would usually just naturally be drawn to a stream as my great-grandmother would go along, she just did stuff. I just saw her talking to things, talking to trees, mainly before cutting parts of the bark, you say, the bark of the tree. Yeah. And different plants, because we don't take anything from nature before asking nature, spirits, for permission. Otherwise, it just doesn't heal. You can't steal from nature, because it removes yashe from whatever you do. And so I would just be there by the stream, talking to my great-grandmother. And I saw, the first time I saw Oshun, it was a reflection. I saw her on the water, basically, like something moving like that on the water. Yeah. And it drew me. I just felt very like, what is it? You know? And then she would sing to me. Nice. And she would tell me, come closer, come closer, come closer. And at that point, I don't know what language she spoke, really. I just knew that I understood what she meant. Yeah. And we would just talk. She would tell me that I am pretty, that I'm a pretty girl, that she's proud of me, that I shouldn't be scared, things like that. And I would just laugh. And then I would tell my great-grandmother, I called her Iya, so let's just say Iya instead of saying great-grandmother. So I would just tell Iya, hey, the nice lady is here again.
The nice lady.
Yeah. And she would say, hey, yes, say hello to her for me. Yeah. So nice. The fact that we're so into our spirituality, and I cannot tell you if Iya was able to see her or not. It's just that at that moment when maybe most parents would have told their kids that, they're making up stuff, closing the gates, she made it something completely natural for me. Yeah. So I actually very much looked forward to going to the forest, because for me, I was going to see the nice lady. Yeah. And she would tell me that she would leave stuff for me, little surprises, little candy. She knew I loved sweet stuff. Yeah. So she would tell me things like that. She would tell me stories about her, about how she had been a little girl as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, how she takes care of little girls like me.
Yeah.
Just really, like, I really felt embraced.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and it really helped me because a few years later, I experienced traumatic experiences, like the loss of my great-grandmother, the loss of my father, different things like that.
Yeah.
I was also a child that was often very sick. I was born with a disease called sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
Which is very, very common among Black people. But I have two genetic deformities, which are similar. And one comes from the Mediterranean, and the other one comes from Africa. I have both from having ancestry in Cyprus and Greece, from one of my great-grandfathers. I had both. So I was a very sick child. I was very fragile, and would always really just like take care of me. I would drink like all types of mixtures to really be healthy.
Yeah.
And having Oshun there she was really my first guardian angel, I would say. She really, for me, was my guardian angel. I would fall asleep, you know, and she would be like always near me. You know, almost like the thing that you need to reassure you. And I know that when my father died, it really, really helped me because I was in such distress that the pain, to be able to cope with the pain, she helped me quite a lot.
How old were you when he passed?
I was 10, 11.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was the typical daddy's girl.
Yeah.
Typical. Up to today, there are people in my town that don't even know my name. They think my name is Princess.
Really?
I saw an old man this past summer, and he said, "Oh, Princess." And I was like, you don't know my name? He's like, your name is Princess.
Oh.
So it was a really, it was a really difficult time of my life. It was the first real awakening, I think. Yeah. The first event that really forced me to see life as not just the 3D thing we're, you know, seeing, but being able to see that there's something beyond that. Yeah. And to know that there are so many ways that I would actually connect with my dad until today. He's one of my soldiers today.
Ashe. I love that. I was going to ask, so how did you get into what you call now goddess spirituality? Because I feel like there was a period of, at least from your book, Pleasure, you know, of kind of conforming to society and then not conforming anymore. So how do we get from there to where you are now in terms of goddess spirituality and fully embracing who you are and, you know, the different goddesses that come to you?
The pressure to conform really came my last year of high school. Yeah. When I realized that it wasn't cool to speak about some of that stuff anymore. Because I would get not mocked, but, you know, peer pressure at that age is important. And I was a very how can I say? There was a lot of responsibility on my shoulder. I was the first grandchild. Yeah. Of my mom being the first child as well. Yeah. I had naturally straight A's without really making any effort. I was a really good student. So there was sort of an expectation of social success. Yeah. Or at least carrying that. Because for where I come from, appearances are very important. Yeah. Demeanor is very important. And even though there has been, you know, the whole colonization and things like that, we still know who is of noble blood and not.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So based on your name, the name of the neighborhood where your family is from, which used to be a village, things of that nature.
Okay.
So those who know would actually call you with a word that shows that you are that first.
Okay.
So
social status was a thing, you know, if you said
social status and being able to be seen as, you know, portraying that social status without having to say I am that.
Yeah.
Was very important.
Okay.
And for some reason, I never, unlike some of the kids that went to school with me, I never, I went to a French all-girls Catholic school as well. So, but the very strict one. But I never went, I never drank alcohol. I never smoked anything. I was not rebellious in any kind. And somehow this spirituality thing was my rebellion, was the only way I was different. Yeah. So I sort of had to put that aside because it was not cool. And my mother was also into that whole social system where she had rejected spirituality as being, you know, like, this is not, you know, in order to survive in society, she pushed that aside.
I have a question. For society in that time, like, was Christianity or Catholicism seen as the religion that you practiced, like the religion that people outwardly showed, like, to be a part of?
Yes. Okay. Actually, it hasn't changed today. Okay. The big joke for us is you go to the temple on Friday and you go to church on Sunday. Okay. Church is a social event. Okay. Where you have to be seen, where you have to dress up, where you have to, you know, basically where you show off how wealthy you are. Okay. Or how good your kids are, or how, you know, period. I'm not going to say anything else about that. Okay. So it's very rare to have people like me who openly say that I am not a Christian. Yeah. I do not abide. I do not play the game of Christianity. I do not believe in an ancestor called Jesus for me.
I'm laughing because, you know, I say that a lot to my selfish babies. I'm like, I let them know that I'm not Christian and that's not what I practice. But I said, if that's what you practice, whatever. But I laugh because for me, I'm like, oh, Jesus is an ancestor. But you're like, well, he's not my ancestor. So I just thought that was hilarious.
I mean, remember, you have a church, a Roman Catholic church, and that has its roots in some pseudo Israelite tribe, which in fact was the darkest shade of black. We'll call it, you know, people of Nubia, which is why even in the Ethiopian Bible and the original Bible, and even in the Gnostic text, you have a Jesus, a Yeshua, described as having copper skin and cotton-like hair. Yeah. Which is why when he tries to escape, he goes to Egypt, aka Kemet or Nubia, in a place where he would not be recognized because he looked like his peers. Yeah. So we're talking about a Jesus, which is an original Jew, okay? An Israelite, an original Jew, portrayed, described as a black man. Yeah. Who goes to Nubia to escape the low melanated people. Yeah. Because in Nubia, they look like him. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So in that sense, if I'm calling upon an ancestor called Jesus, I have to acknowledge that he's part of my ancestry. Mm-hmm. But I cannot strengthen the egregore of Isaac and Jacob, which is fortifying a group of people, which is not me. So I know some people, even those who don't from my culture who don't necessarily believe, but who do it because their parents have done it, because that's the way you do it. They don't even question it anymore.
Yeah.
Even that is still participating in strengthening a group of people, which has for generations come to us, taken from us, passed as us, and claim that our powers are evil or are null.
Yeah.
And that we should follow them.
Yeah.
So no, Jesus is not my ancestor.
Sure.
And I know for a fact that my first angels, my first guardians, the messengers between me and the high cosmic divinities, the high ministries, are my ancestors.
Okay.
And that is why everyone should claim their royal bloodline. You're not royal because of some social accepted notion of a nobility that was imposed on you. You're royal because you're part of the highest type of royalty, which is God.
Ashe.
Period. And the way for me to succeed in life is to acknowledge those who are here to help me instead of turning my back on those who are here to help me. How can I pray in a language that they don't even understand? I'm going to pray, on a group of people. Imagine I pray in Chinese. I mean, have you seen Asians claiming their God to be blonde hair and blue eyed? No.
There are some.
Yes.
I will say there are some.
It's true. Koreans.
Yes.
Those who have accepted the invasion.
Yeah.
The big majority. Or Indians.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to claim our power back. And it's just, first of all, by acknowledging our spirituality.
Yeah.
Because for me, once you connect to that, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
It's easier to put your boundaries because you know who you are.
Yeah.
And you know that there's stuff that you cannot tolerate anymore because of who you are.
Yeah. I really like that. I really like your perspective. I like your truth. And I know that, for some people, that truth may shake up, or make them think. I think that's the thing that I like. It makes them think, because for me, what I see is that a lot of people, especially some women, they just do it because their moms did it. They just did it because their grandparents did it. And when I say it, I mean abide by Christianity or Catholicism. And I'm doing this because this is what I was taught. This is what I grew up in. And so for them, they find it very difficult to say, well, I'm actually maybe interested in something different. I feel like it feels scary for them, because it's like African type of spirituality, right? Can seem demonic, can seem evil. They'll say, oh, that's the devil. But then it's like when you try to bring that to maybe your mom or grandma, they may not understand. And then the large majority of the world is practicing Christianity because that's the socially acceptable religion that people abide by. And so I really enjoyed you sharing your own personal truth on like what you abide by, and like, the openness of that. And I appreciate that, because I tell my people all the time, like, well, I'm not Christian, but that's me, but I feel like when more people say it and more people are honest about it, I feel like it helps other people feel more open about it, or even open to thinking, I think I actually want to try something different. This may not be working for me. And the only reason they're doing it is because of, oh, well, they practice it. That's what everybody else does, especially Black people in America, because it's just like, if you say that you're not Christian and you're Black in America, it's like, what are you talking about? Everybody's Black. Everybody believes in Jesus. What are you saying? So I always wanted to say, I really appreciate that truth. But what would you tell some of our selfish babes that's like, well, I don't really know maybe what my ancestors practiced. Like, what would you tell them to start doing? Because a lot of, at least for me, I know a lot of my ancestors practice Christianity. I may not believe in it, but I have the Bible for my grandma on her ancestor altar, because that's what I know that she practiced.
Of course. First of all, I don't think I would ever. I wouldn't go around this route. I would say, how do you want to feel God? God's presence. because for the years and years I went to Catholic school, practiced forced confession every Friday, where I was forced to lie because I didn't think I had sinned, but I had to make up a sin.
Yeah.
Because you don't walk out of the priest room unless you've said your sins and he has blessed you, put his hand over my crown chakra, belittling me and my powers, closing my powers.
Yeah.
How many, like I can't even count. For all of the times I was forced to go to church to get my first communion, and then all of the sacraments of Catholicism.
Yeah.
I never felt God's presence. Never. The first time I asked a question in Bible school, I was shut down because I was called, like I was trying to be sassy or whatever. And I was put back in the room for the rest of the year because I dared asking a question that didn't make sense to me, which was a very simple question. I asked, in the Bible, Jesus appears until he's 12 years old in front of the temples. Then we don't talk about him. The moment when he reappears, he's 32. What happened for those 20 years?
Yeah.
If you don't know, tell me, I don't know, child.
Yeah.
You know? But I learned that day that for me, I was good in school. I was just going to learn Bible and everything religious, and I was just going to rehash, just like I went to school and talked about geography or history or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just repeated like a parrot. And I got good grades at Bible school.
Yeah.
And I promised myself that the last day of the day I would have my sacrament, it was almost like I signed, that's it. That was the last day I went to church.
Wow.
And I never felt God. I never felt God's presence.
Yeah.
I felt God's presence when I was with my great-grandmother, sitting on the porch, eating sugar canes, when she was doing my hair every other day, you know, just talking. She was telling me stories, and I would feel angels coming around me. I would feel God's presence then, but never when in church, in a place where God is supposed to live.
Yeah.
I never felt God. So for me, it's really the first thing. Do you want to feel God's presence? Do you want to know what it is? And is Christianity really serving that purpose?
Yeah.
Do you know yourself as a Christian? Do you have all of the answers of why am I here as a Christian? How can I be a prosperous child of God as a Christian? Or as a Muslim or whatever? For me, it would be the first thing. And that's when you have an openness, because then they're like, okay. The second route I would go about would be to talk about the fact that spirituality is a human thing.
Yeah.
That you can actually be a Christian or anything else and be spiritual, because you don't have to learn. You don't have to read the Bible to be a spiritual person. You don't have to read the Vedas to be, you know, a spiritual. It's about connecting to the God within you, the consciousness of God, the seed of God within you. There's nothing, it's the simplest thing to be spiritual. It's accepting that I am God's particle here.
Yeah.
And God has many languages. You know, why not finding my language?
Yeah. You had mentioned connecting to the consciousness of God within you. And how would you say that somebody does that?
Oh my God. Closing your eyes. Quiet.
Yeah.
Learning to be with yourself. It's so simple, but yet we're so used to being distracted.
Yeah.
You know, that we want everything fast, fast, like we want like, what is it called? Gratification?
Yeah, instant gratification.
Yes. What about just taking 5 minutes every day, closing your eyes, not expecting anything, and observing what happens? And then you first see the chaos that is within you, all of the shadow and the voices and the more you do it without expectation, just to be with you, because you're the most precious person for yourself.
I say.
If you can't even spend time with you, why would, now I'm speaking in metaphysical terms, why would the universe, spend time on you? No? You want to receive, but you don't even want to be with you. So it's being with you first, before even the rituals, because Venusians have a particular way. It's very ritualized.
Yeah.
Because we work with a specific, with an engine.
Yeah.
That needs to be fueled and awakened, because it's been dormant, because it's been shut down, because it's been in trauma and in false beliefs.
Yeah.
So as Venusians, yes, we have rituals. But before even getting to the rituals, silence, honoring me. And that's when you become the greatest priestess. Actually, if everyone did that, or if everyone taught their girls and boys to do that, their queens and kings to do that, there would be no need of people like me. Because everyone would walk around as being their own God on earth.
Yes. I tell my selfish babes that often about sitting with yourself and sitting in solitude or spending time with yourself. So I just kept saying, because it's the same message reiterated. So as you selfish babes heard, Miss Pravala says the same thing. Thank you, Miss Pravala, for that. I appreciate that. Now, you mentioned something I was going to get into, which you talked about Venusians. I know a lot of my selfish babes do not know what Venusians are. And so can you kind of give us a little bit about that? And like, how did you know you were a Venusian?
Are they ready?
Yes, they are.
Because this is woo-woo stuff, okay?
We want to hear all of it.
You have to think outside the box, okay? And I don't know what's the demographic of your selfish babes, but I know that in new age type of people, which from what I see, because we're talking about the US, it's a lot of Caucasians that do like Wicca stuff, who do borrowed stuff that they put together and like mash up, and they now serve you like specialized terms because they're kind. They're good. They're good at archiving other people's stuff and making sense of it. And it completely disturbs the whole process, because now you're going to go into meditation and searching for something instead of acknowledging that, no, you're not supposed to go and see what someone else saw, It's not a movie. It's your experience. It's your path. Yeah. But in the
I just want you to know that I have a lot of Black women listeners. I have mixed listeners, but a large majority of the selfish babes are Black women.
Okay.
Just want to put that out there.
Ethnic background doesn't matter in reality. It shouldn't matter. But we're still experiencing the 3D. So history, there's still a story, even though we have to detach ourselves from the story. And that's why I talked about this. But the new age group is massively white. Yeah. And if you go on, blogs or videos or whatever, you will see that mainly, like very boho looking, and, people who have gone to temples, to India and things like that. People who are searching, or genuinely searching. And there are terms that have come, things like rainbow child, star seeds, and things like that. So there is a truth to that. And basically, the way you can understand, I'm giving a premise. The way as human beings, we have different origins, ethnic origins, different specialties, natural abilities. As above, so below. It is a reflection of how all of the eons of galaxies are constructed.
Okay.
So you have different realms and dimensions.
Yes.
The way I've experienced it is almost like countries where people are of pure blood, where they're not mixing, because the astral and the other dimensions are highly technological, let me just say. So you can't mix an Arcturian with a Pleiadian or whatever, because the whole system of how those realms are conducted, it's like they serve their divine purpose already.
Okay.
So all of those realms, what I have seen, how I interpret it is, when I've traveled there, is that beings, entities from those different realms wait online, queue to experience the 3D. So I have seen lines where it's like they're waiting for a new child to be born, a new seed to be created, and the soul enters that child.
Yeah.
So it's like I say, it's very technological, what I've seen. And as a Venusian, anything that's complicated is really weird to me. But I feel that there's even like something about astrology and the date of birth and like all of that actually is all interrelated, as in why a Venusian versus a Pleiadian would actually enter a body. Almost like they have their time slots, and it's like on that time slot, it's a Venusian that incarnates.
Okay.
So a Venusian is one of the many, many, many types of entities that are part of those other dimensions, which you can actually enter through the 4D, the astral.
Okay.
With your consciousness.
Okay.
But it's even more complex than that, because our brain can't fathom really.
Yeah.
Like I said, the technology, the complexity of it.
Yeah.
And there are many, many, many. So as a Venusian, how did I know? First of all, I had to know that Oshun was a Venusian. Because every time she talked to me, there was something about Venus.
Yeah.
Something about Venus. It was always that word coming, Venus, 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 Venus. So I didn't know I was of that kind up to probably when I was 24.
Okay.
When I started getting back to really embracing the weirdness that I was as a spiritual.
Yeah.
And basically, I naturally have this ability to close my eyes. I go to sleep very easily.
Okay.
Leave my physical body and go home. So, and I would know that place was home for me.
Yeah.
The moment I was there, everything felt like, oh my God, this is home.
Yeah.
And every time I would come back into my body, I would actually feel depressed, because I actually naturally wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
So, and how did I know? Because I was told, this is your home. This is your home. This is Venus. Yeah. This is Venus. This is the Venus realm. And then I would come, and then I would be greeted by Ishtar.
Yeah.
And then Ishtar would take me, and she would bathe me in a fountain. She would like literally wash me. And inside of the fountain, there was a ruby. So there was light. And I felt, and the fountain even, and it smelled like menstrual blood.
Wow.
And So all of those things, it was really for me, the moment I was ready, it was about connecting the dots, because everything, all of the symbols, everything that I experienced there were really telling me, sexual energy, the womb.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was actually able to, at some point, not get out of my body, but into my womb to go to Venus. Which is, even as I'm saying this, it sounds really weird, but, go inside and Venus is within us. We have this, actually, all of the realms are associated with our chakras anyways. So that's the thing, though. When people say meditation, it's, it's not what, meditation is embodying.
Yes.
Is going in. You don't have to go out to meet God, because all of the cosmos has been put inside of us. So I always knew.
I have multiple questions. The first one is, okay, so you mentioned going home within your womb, and within your womb is Venus. Would you say that there are multiple other planets within your womb, or is just specifically in your womb is Venus because you are Venusian?
No, everyone's womb is a Venusian womb. That's why in the Yoni webinar, I explain the Holy Grail of how each part, starting from the lips, your labia, all the way to, the inner walls of the womb, which would be, like the tail of the cup.
Yeah.
Which goddess is at which point.
Okay.
And why, for example, if you're experiencing pain in your left, for me, I know that when I'm disconnected or when there's something that is happening, Oshun, I always have pain on my left ovary because that's the home of Oshun.
Okay.
On every woman's womb. So every part of our bodies is a dimension, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And then I had another question, because I have more questions the more you talk. And I know my selfish babes have questions. So for example, you said Oshun's on the left ovary. Now, how do you know this? Is it because Oshun told you, or is it because you just know because you visited there?
Both.
Okay.
Plus the third one, which is that they just showed me the map. It's like the tree of life, like the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
So every single one of them is somewhere. But the way you can actually tell is once you start even just reading the myth, because many of the front person of those goddesses are known. They're famous goddesses, famous entities. Because in front of Erzuli Freda, there are many, many, many more Erzulis, that serve under that specific. It's like you go to a hospital and you have different specialties.
Yes.
So if you know that, for example, Erzuli or Maîtresse Zili is known for making a masculine loyal if he's been straying away, or if you know that in mythology, we talk about the notion of being spoiled or being pampered, loving luxuries, being sassy and capricious. If you have an issue with that and you identify this ancestor, I would call them as that because that's what they are, Okay. The word goddess even is it's another debate altogether.
Okay.
But you have this ancestor, this is her specialty, this is her healing. So as you know that sometimes you would see that, do I have dryness in that area? Do I have itchiness in that area? And you start connecting. What is happening in my life right now? Am I not taking time for myself? Am I rushing? Do I have the difficulty accepting gifts in life, compliments, people holding a door for you, because some women are like, no, I don't need them. You know, all of those programmings, you can actually connect it and see that, wait a second, there's something that is happening. And actually your body has had a way of telling you that because there's a seat of that issue and it's dual opposite, which is the full embracing of it and fulfillment of it within you.
Okay.
So your body can tell you already.
Yeah.
So just as an exercise for anyone who's interested, you know, in Aphrodite, whatever, in different types of mythologies, you would see that each goddess, or each ancestor has a specialty.
Yeah.
And how sometimes she would come into your life at a specific time. So that's why some people, I would say for me, for my customers and my clients, they would work with, you know, one potion for 2 years, and then that's it. Because that's the work they needed to do with the specific deity, and they needed something that forced open something.
Yeah.
Well, because potions are metaphysical ingredients put together to open things fast.
Yeah.
You know, but it's something that you could do in using other ways. It's just that Venusians use potions.
Yeah.
But, you know, so there are many ways you can know it. It's just a matter of asking yourself, looking in the mirror and really identifying, what am I going through?
Yeah.
You know, what am I lacking? You know, what is my pursuit?
Yeah.
Why am I pursuing this specifically? You know, whereas someone may be similar, having a similar experience than me, may not, even you take twins, you know, why is she not needing this?
Yeah.
You know, why is my perspective on life, you know, always targeting a specific desire?
Yeah.
You know, why do I feel like I'm always missing this? You know?
And so when you ask those questions.
Exactly. You need to start questioning your 3D in order to identify what is you, the goddess, is trying to tell you on your journey.
I was going to say, so if you start questioning certain things that you feel like you're lacking or needing, then would you say, okay, well, see that, oh, well, this goddess talks about this, which is the opposite. For example, we have talked about Lakshmi before, and she's the goddess of wealth. And so if somebody's like, okay, wealth is important to them, maybe that would be the goddess that they would work with to help them on their journey of wealth, you know? Okay. You talk a lot about goddess spirituality, and I feel like what you just spoke about was goddess spirituality, because it's in depth about naming the different goddesses to work with to help you on your journey. And so how would you describe that for us? Because I feel like when I first learned about you, Miss Pravala, it was primarily on YouTube. So if you guys have not checked out Miss Pravala's YouTube, please do. And I'll have it linked below in the show notes. But what I really appreciate about you, Miss Pravala, is that I feel like you were the first ever Black woman that would like talk about spirituality in the way that you did, but also like different goddesses. Like I've seen specific people, for example, in African spirituality talk about like Santeria, Voodoo, Lukumi, etc. But it's just like, that's all they talk about. So you're the first one that you even brought in Lakshmi and like Hindu, quote unquote, Hindu goddesses. And I'm just like, wow, I've never seen a Black woman talk about all these type of different goddesses, and kind of almost like, I don't want to say mixing because I don't want to be disrespectful, but like you bridge them together. And I like that because I know sometimes within even African spirituality, I feel like people can have can be boxy. They can be boxy sometimes. And so for me, I feel like you were the first woman that I've met that like embraced all types of different goddesses from different areas of the world. And I was like, wow, that's really beautiful. And so let us know about goddess spirituality and like, why do you think women should practice?
Okay. Well, when you were talking, it brought up things, other things. So I hope I'm not going like straying away from the question. But the first thing I want to say is that I'm not preaching goddess religion. So I'm not antagonizing God in the way religions have portrayed God, which is for most religions, I think, a Santa Claus looking white man with a white beard on a throne.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
So it's not in opposition to a God.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm not preaching, and also this is not goddess religion. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because my experience of the interpretation of African spiritualities is this almost like the need to impose codes of religion.
Yeah.
So you have the family of Orishas.
Yeah.
And it's them and only them. In reality, it is true, and it is probably needed, again, because of history, because of what we've experienced. It probably was at some point 20, 30 years ago, probably it was needed to reaffirm this pride of honoring our ancestry that was lost.
Yes.
Okay? Because those are ancestors. Orishas, for me, do not need to be worshipped. They are our guides. That's why there's a lot of divination also when you go to different priests of those spiritualities. So they're our guides. We're supposed to stay in contact with them to hear their messages. That's why I say, if you do any type of initiation, if you have not seen in your travel, and once you do the initiation, if at some point, whether it lasts 2 weeks, 3 days, or whatever, if you have not met at least one emissary of your ancestries, I would question the process of your initiator, of the person that brought you there. Because the point is to meet your ancestors. The point is to not even need someone to be the messenger between you and your ancestor. That's why you initiate. To not have to go to, for me, my Santeria priest to say, hey, Padrino, I have this thing going on in my life right now. Can you please throw the cowrie shells to give me answers from Oshun? No. This is what you do before you initiate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you initiate, it means you are in, you have the key, you have the code to unlock your iPhone, to connect with them. So there are our guides and our protectors. They're supposed to tell us, okay, now you're doing something. I know you want to do this, but no, go back to doing this. You're supposed to be able to communicate with them every day.
Okay.
A couple of nights ago, I was awakened, like I was shaking because there was a meeting of my ancestors.
Yeah.
And I was not in that meeting, but I don't even know how to say it. This was the first time it happened to me. My ancestors communicate to me through my heart. Okay. That's where they're. Oh my God, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Just say it. No,
this is initiate stuff.
Okay. Cool. That's fine.
But anyways, so this is where if you have laser raised eyes and you see things, you can even see their face here when you look at me. The one that is speaking to you, because I'm not the one speaking to you. Delivering divine messages is not me.
Yeah.
Never, ever. I will not ever take my messages for granted because they're a gift. Yeah. I'm just the vessel. But anyways, a couple of nights ago, they had a meeting and I didn't even know, I was just sleeping and I heard them yelling. But imagine you hear the scream, but inside of your heart.
Wow.
And they were fighting about something about me. And they had an argument. about me. This is what I'm telling you. And those are not like woo voices. That was a voice. And I know who spoke.
Yeah.
And I was just like, shoot, I don't even want to go and ask them because I don't want to handle this right now. I don't want that. I don't want an answer. So I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing though. You're supposed to communicate to them, to have the messages, just like some people go on YouTube, you know, because I'm a spiritual, I get those, you know, suggestions on YouTube where, yes, you know, it's like angel messages. Archangel Michael is telling you 1111. What is your today's message?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that. You have an internal clock,
an
internal, like, what's the word? Compass.
Yeah.
That is telling you already. And that's what your ancestors serve as. So to box the whole hierarchy of Orishas and ancestors is to box your own ability to go and get messages from everywhere.
Yeah.
They're beneficial to you.
Yeah.
As someone who is of African descent, today, the Orishas, you can take them as a woman or as someone who identifies as a feminine. You take them as your matron goddess, as your first one.
Yeah.
The first, the main one.
Yes.
You know? But then you also have to take into account what incarnation you are. And I guess for me, it's also probably because it is my life purpose, it is my sacred purpose, my dharma to be delivering that message, that I was born with those abilities.
Yeah.
I had the natural ability to connect only to women or feminine ancestors or feminine goddesses. And that's why I call it goddess spirituality. I don't think in any type of spirituality you would ever hear that term, which is I think it's a highly modern term because you don't even hear of God spirituality. Yeah. You know, you hear of religion. Yeah. But what I call God spirituality is the renunciation, consciousness-based spirituality, which is leaving the material world and seeking truth within and, you know, which serves a high purpose because you have to learn detachment. Yeah. It's important because we're split in two. We are masculine and feminine.
Yes.
But when you lean so much into the masculine to survive in society and you forget your divinity, your feminine divinity, for sure, you don't have fulfillment.
Yeah.
I would take 20 of my clients who have $200 million more than me.
Yeah.
Who would pay to have my life?
Wow.
Because I'm genuinely balanced and fulfilled.
Yeah.
And we were all born equal, from what I gather, in terms of the pains and suffering we come with, the burden, the stuff we have to overcome, and the ability to have abundance and pleasure and have a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You were born with a handicap, we're born with whatever. I was, like I told you, a sick child. I've had surgeries, I've had whatever. You name it.
Yeah.
I have lost dear people in my life. Whatever experience you went through, I probably have all of it in one.
Yeah.
You know, experiencing abuse, sexual abuse. I would say I am my first client because I have gone through that in the times when I denied myself. And for me, it was probably even harsher because I had that purpose from as young as I can remember.
Yeah.
So the fact that I purposely disconnected from that, I made a decision to say, I am not doing the spirituality thing because I'm going to be 3D, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to do this, and that, I'm going to go to school and whatever. It was a decision that I made. So for me, it was more brutal. Yeah. The losses were more brutal. The pains were not more brutal. There was nothing subtle. And that's why I'm
more brutal because you weren't ignorant to all of it. You already knew.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what awakening is. Once you know, you cannot unknow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have a sort of a free tax period when you're lingering in ignorance. You know, it's almost like, okay, she's gonna manifest, you know, occasionally with luck and bad luck and whatever. When things happen, she may have good times. But for someone who knows how it works, who knows the rules, who has the connections, you know, your guides are there, they're connecting with you, and you're turning your back on them. When they turn their back on you, it's more brutal because they want to teach you a lesson. And also, you have to understand that whatever they're doing is also to serve you, your own God, which is not your own goddess within, doesn't know pain. It just knows this. You have to learn. You have to awaken.
Yeah.
You know? And that part of you doesn't see whatever is good or bad with pain. It's just an experience. It's actually quite interesting. You know, for your higher self to experience pain. It's like, oh, okay, that's what it is in 3D.
Yeah.
You know, you hurt yourself. Ooh. But it has to serve a purpose. Once you know, it's impossible to not know.
Yeah.
The lessons are harsher, but that's also why I manifest like that. Because I don't question. Whatever it takes, you know, 3 months for someone, it takes me like overnight, it's done. Because I know, and I have the confirmation it's done. And when I don't have the confirmation, when it's like, it's not for you, I leave it. Because you also have to know that whatever purpose you're serving, your wealth goes with it.
Yeah. So
there is no need of looking at someone's portrayal of wealth and being like, why cannot I have, this is what I want. It may not be yours. It may not be the format of your wealth. You're looking at someone else's type of wealth, beauty, expression of wealth, which sometimes is not even genuine because, you know, how can you tell from just looking at your phone or your computer whether it's genuine or not? You know, if it were so genuine and so fulfilling, why would there be so many people overdosing on drugs and pills and, you know, going to shrinks for years and years, all of those celebrities and whatever? You may think they have it all, right? There's always a balance.
Yeah.
And you have to serve your goddess first.
Yeah.
You know?
Miss Pravala, now how would you say that one would start serving their goddess for the women that are listening? Because I know you mentioned, sitting with yourself, sitting in silence, connecting.
Okay, there's the path of...
I want to say something because I feel like when you talk about stuff, you say it in a way that makes it sound easy or like people should know. But, no. I'm saying you make it sound people should know, but based on different people's realities and different people's conditionings, it's not as easy. I'm not going to say it's not as easy, like they can't do it. I'm saying that I feel like people need like, well, what do you mean? Oh, do this, do that. Because for them, it's different. It's a new way of being. Because if they've never been that way before, how would they know? So in terms of coming from that perspective, how would one awaken their goddess, tap into their goddess?
Okay. That's actually a huge question for me to convert what I do as a business. Because when I speak to the people that work for me, I speak gibberish sometimes, and they're like, whoa, how can we make that? Like, how can we even put ads on Google or Facebook? How would they know that they need that? Because the way you speak, they won't even understand what we're asking for them. And for a long time, I felt like I was cheating because I felt like I had to have keywords of key Google searches. And I was like, well, but that's the keyword that everyone is searching, but that's not what this is not what I want to teach them. So it's very tough because you have trends in spirituality. Yeah. And a lot of the trends come from a need-based situation of needing more abundance or needing love, needing healing. So people would go into spirituality as the need is the excuse to awaken. So the first way I would say to go into goddess spirituality is to go at it from the intellectual, mental route, which is law of attraction.
Yeah.
Easy, understanding that this world has spiritual laws, which are laws that were taught even in the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, and other ancient writers, and even some of the cycle. But going about it as understanding frequencies and vibrations and the law of attraction and manifesting your desires, which for me is point one, but it's for a while you're gonna realize that it has its limitations, because manifesting your desires, and even for me as a YouTuber, it's horrible, because as a goddess, I am the desire. And for me, manifesting a desire is chasing something outside of me. So even the terminology, the way it's formatted, written, for me, it's wrong. But that's how you would search for it. How do I manifest my desires? How do I manifest my SP, my specific person, which is a trending term as well? How am I manifesting $1 million? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you go with that, with the intellectual way. You start doing affirmations, you start doing, different types of meditations, playing on YouTube a little bit, YouTube University a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I hope you don't linger there for a long time, or at least you have the discernment to realize that it has its limitation, because a lot of people on social media are influencers, which basically means that they're triers. They are learning as they're going.
Yeah.
Which means that they may tell you something, and then 2-3 months later, they realize, it's not working. And then they teach you something else. Oh, manifesting technique 1, manifesting technique 2. And you stay on the vicious cycle of manifesting techniques.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you need to ask yourself the question, to just like everything else in life, how do I go further, is by schooling myself. And for me, it would be the first thing, even before going to school to learn whatever, I think there should be schools on learning to love yourself.
I agree.
Learning to connect to your spirituality, learning to love money. For me, those are natural things that should be taught in school, which are skills that will help you, because then you know how to get back on your feet. You understand the cycles of life. So you need schooling, you need training. So you need to make a decision of, how do I go to an expert?
Yeah.
Who is a true expert of that? A priest, a priestess. When I say priest, not Catholic, I'm speaking of, the larger scheme of things.
Yeah.
Someone who knows and who has the stamp of approval from a higher, who comes to you as an authority.
Yes.
For me, the natural way would be to go and, to a place that is a physical place.
Yeah.
Because we tend to trust, a temple that actually has physical walls or whatever. That's why people love churches and, stuff like that, because it's a place, it has the credibility. It's like, I know they're not going to be, like, it's not a fraud because it has a building.
Yeah.
That's how the brain works, right?
Yeah, that's very funny.
Man, it's discernment. In reality, if you open up yourself enough and you have tried the intellectual route, you know that at some point you hit a ceiling and you're like, okay, I need more, because your inner goddess needs more. She needs to grow more within your body. And if you listen to yourself, it happens naturally. When you're ready, the master comes. Period. That's when you would find people like me on YouTube, or other people who speak the language of your goddess.
Ashe.
Okay? It's not me. I hope there are many, many more, of people like me who are helping you heal whatever false truth you're holding on to.
Yeah.
To be freed. So it should happen naturally. And even in terms of money, because money is a big thing.
Yeah.
In spirituals, for a long time, suffered imposter syndrome of how can I be charged? How can I charge? How can I be paid for something that is innately, that I haven't learned?
Yeah.
Because for me, if I take my own path, I was not taught to close my eyes or to even have my eyes open and see Oshun.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you why I saw her. I just knew that I saw her and I knew she was real. Yeah. I didn't deny that. So how would you be paid for something that it comes to you naturally? Which is the big question. And a lot of spirituals, I believe from my clients, apparently suffer from it.
Yeah, because they feel like it's somehow godly to be impoverished for some reason, or like you're not supposed to have a lot of material wealth, quote unquote. And so I've seen that a lot in the spiritual community, and I don't like.
Of course, but that's what the Roman Empire's big success is for millennia. Even those who don't believe in that still have this programming of, look at us, we're in the Vatican, the Roman Empire. Everything in the Vatican is made of gold, diamonds. You go and you see the Pope and he has a ring big like this, you have to kiss it, it's diamond. Yeah. Yet you, who has to tithe, is supposed to be poor.
Yeah.
So you're paying for that ring. I mean, the Pope is like the biggest pimp on the block for me. He's like, he has everything, like,
yeah.
It looks ridiculous, even if you look at him like it's not the Pope. You're like, wow, that man is actually dressing in gold.
Yeah.
And it doesn't shock people. Yet when someone that you feel like is normal comes to you as a spiritual and charges you, you feel like, why should I pay for it? And even as the spiritual person, why should I charge? Mm-hmm. I never had that problem because as a Venusian, we understand innately that our engine is in our womb, and it is the machine to create wealth. So the moment we turn on that engine, for sure, it creates wealth. Yeah. So it cannot be bad.
Yeah.
Because it is our godly power.
Yeah.
Period.
There's a quote that you always say, Miss Pravala, manifesting. What's your quote?
Manifest lavish imperial opulence.
I was like, I had it, but I didn't want to mess it up. So I was like, let me just have her say it. What is that?
It is, for me, it encompasses what goddess spirituality is.
Yeah. Which
is the divine entitlement to be rich.
Yes.
And not to be a little bit rich, but to be out there, to be proud,
Yeah.
I mean, you've read stories of Oshun, or heard stories of Oshun. You've seen stories of Ishtar, of Lakshmi. You see even in places where go to, watch videos or go to voodoo temples where, they call upon the energy of Erzuli Freda.
Yeah.
Would you think Erzuli will come with her head bent and, dressed in like torn clothes?
No, not at all.
When there's a procession of Lakshmi in a small village in India, where the poorest people clean their entire home because they have been taught that Lakshmi does not enter a home that is dirty. She will not enter a home that is dirty. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how hardworking you are. Energies don't mix.
Yeah.
It's a match. It's a vibrational match.
Yeah.
She would unapologetically pass by your home without even looking at you. And you may think, wow, it's harsh because those are poor people. No. You want the goddess to enter your home. Make your home, I don't care how small your studio apartment is or whatever, your little hut in the village, make it the temple of the goddess. So it's also a pride thing that we should reclaim.
Yeah.
To stop lingering in the victim mentality.
Yeah.
Of needing to be seen as small in order to be helped or saved.
Yeah.
As a people, as a society, as women, because when you know what you are, you don't even have to be arrogant about it. It is an entitlement.
Yes.
I'm making a video. I made a video. I just have to put it together, which I don't know how I'm going to call it, but the message is take your manifestation for granted.
Explain that.
Because we tend to put our manifestation on a pedestal.
Yes.
I want to buy 3 apartments this year because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, like, I feel like this is me. I want to be in real estate now. I want to have money that works for me, whatever. So it seems so big maybe that I put it up here compared to me. Like, how am I going to do it? Am I going to have, what banks are going to follow me? Do I have good for the US? Do I have good credit? Things like that. You start considering things. All of the reasons why it's difficult for it to happen. But as goddesses, we are creatures of magic, not creatures of logic. So we can't abide by the rules of logic, because if you follow logic, probably you're going to be denied everything.
Yes.
Logic says that those are the 3 reasons why you can't qualify.
Yeah.
But once you tap into the power of magic, which is goddess spirituality, which is the notion that literally when I want something, I have an army of specialists, aka my ancestors, who are going to tap on the shoulders of whatever bank teller and say, hey, sign this.
Yeah.
Even putting them on hypnosis, and they'll be like, I'm signing this, I don't know why. Okay.
I love it.
Why would you put logic into something that has nothing to do with logic?
So for you, would you say having the desire is simply enough?
For me, having the desire means that if you're still stuck in the lack mentality, it means identify why you're not embodying the desire and seek to embody the desire all the ways you can. And for me, it's about awakening the goddess, because once you have awakened, you have done that work of either initiating through like an actual group of people, spirituals who have the ability to do that for you, or to do with people like me, with my course, with other courses maybe that exist out there, to initiate, to really have the seed open so that you talk to your money, you talk to your goddess, you have a real conversation, you have a real connection with your ancestors, with your royal bloodline. Then, it's not even a question anymore, because it's no longer I'm manifesting this desire because I don't have this. It's I have this desire because this is part of my sacred purpose, my sacred nature, and I'm at the point in my life where this is what I'm manifesting now.
Yes.
That's it, because this is just like, okay. And at every point in your life, you're going to have obstacles, because you have to fight whatever limiting belief is attached to why you shouldn't have it. Because it's about freeing yourself. It's not about a dollar amount. It's not about a marital status. It's not. All of those things are excuses for you to understand that you already have everything within you. It's just about opening, or like freeing whatever is blocking. And then it unravels, when it's ready, because seeds don't have the same time to bloom.
True. I like that perspective, Miss Pravala. That would be a very powerful video that you're putting together.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I know you have a retreat coming up. Can you tell us about it and what to expect? Because I know that a lot of my selfish babes, after listening to this, they're gonna want to meet you in person. The retreat let me. I
I feel like before doing the retreat, you need to do the course first.
Yes. Tell us about that.
I feel like it's a good prerequisite because the course helps you already literally kill all of your fears, look all of your traumas in the face, do the shadow work. I know it's a big, people love that shadow work and they love to stay in that stuff. They help you understand your own manifestation powers. They help you awaken your own goddess. Because at the end, my course starts, and my course is really like a life thing, because I did the courses separately before.
Yeah.
As I was ready and I had time to do them, because my own life is, as a Venusian, is very enjoyable.
Okay.
So for me, the duality is really to fight to work, because naturally I would just linger all day.
Yeah.
But you also know probably that I have this thing where I say that I'm going to retire soon, and I'm 40 years old this year.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would have retired this year, 2022. So this is my thing. I'm already sort of in pre-retirement mode.
Okay.
Because I feel that my teaching, I've given in that course everything that a person needs to already be fulfilled, happy, and manifesting lavish imperial opulence based on their own definition of that.
Yeah.
And the course is tough. I was reading messages today, like 20 messages of new daikinis who are like, I'm doing the Isis initiation and I think I have to do it a second time. Oh my God, what does this mean? I keep seeing things. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough work. If you devote yourself to you into the practice, I feel like this course, if you're meant to be in the goddess spirituality, is the thing.
Okay.
The retreat is for those who want to have the closest experience of what a Venusian initiation is, based on what I have seen traveling to Venus, connecting to the womb, having all of the, I want to say blood rituals, but it sounds kind of weird, but yes. Yes. What it means to be a sexual spiritual.
Yeah.
In the most tantric way, meaning that really tapping, learning to understand everything that happens in the most raw way possible. So feeling, understanding the pain of ecstasy, the pleasure of ecstasy, bringing it together. How do you, in a room, because those are things, first of all, I cannot teach in a video because I can't possibly make a video naked.
Yeah.
Because most of the rituals would be probably at some point or another, you wouldn't, be wearing clothes, or you would lose the clothes at some point. you know? But yes, for me, it's really a woman's retreat, but not in a women's circle kind of way. It's really raw. We're going to tap into anger, releasing anger, screaming, understanding what's going on in your womb, learning to speak to your womb, listening to her, actually identifying her voice, because her voice sometimes, maybe, the ego sometimes disguising itself as the voice of the, God or the whatever, connecting to that, understanding climax, understanding sexual energy, understanding how to use the sexual energy, because that's our power of creation. And many times we deplete it because we give away our sexual powers to mundane, everyday, casual sexuality that we give away out of need, out of needing, gratification. Think about it. If you have sex like me, which is probably about sometimes 8 times a night, every night, you deplete yourself of your sexual energy. If you're because you cannot be a spiritual unless you're sexual.
Yeah.
You know? I don't follow a lot of spirituals, but I love Osho.
Osho.
And he said something, and the only reason why I know him is because I saw something about him where he said, I am the Playboy of spirituality. And people are like, outraged.
Yeah.
We are sexual beings. Sexuality, sexual energy is part of us. We're born with it.
Yes.
Why denying that? You know? So we're supposed to know how it works. We're supposed to know the cycles. We're supposed to know when to climax, when not to climax. You know, how we work with the moon, with the energies, to know when we are full and when we're able to start a project in life, start a relationship, you know, listening to ourselves, what is going on in our relationship, and how it is from within, what is happening, because everything we have is a feedback of what's going on inside of us.
Yeah.
You know, so understanding our sexual energy, liberating whatever cannot be liberated from just a video or a course, because I think I know that the most important aspect of the retreat, which is going to be the challenging part of me, is that there are going to be group sessions for everyone.
Yeah.
But then daily, I'm going to take everyone one by one and actually perform healing on them.
Yeah.
Which for me is the most amazing thing. It's the first thing that I actually started doing. Yeah. Having people one-on-one and things like that, until I realized that it was taking too long, too much time for me. And also I didn't know how, and I still don't know how to detach myself. And you probably would agree to that, you know, because you've done sessions with me where if I have time, I will stay for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very generous of my energy. I don't know how to distance myself from, I would say, a client, but for me, it's really a daikini, because when I'm with a client, I don't see her as separate from me. I see her as an extension of me. So I provide healing the way I'm healing myself.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, so it's tough because for me, from my level and knowing what I know about wealth and things like that, I should be charging $5,000 a session at this point, you know, because, and sometimes even more, because some daikinis require more. Yeah. You know, more healing, more stuff. She comes with, you know, wealth, but then you realize that it's an issue of something that has nothing to do with her, that was passed on through generations, you know?
Yes. That's
so you end up healing. Yeah. You know, I end up healing curses when in reality, she took a session on abundance. Yeah. And it was actually a generational curse. So I end up doing witchcraft, you know, or energy healing. Yeah. So it was not possible for me, for the way I am built and the way I am, and all of my team was like horrified by it. They were like, no, you have to stop. The session is 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes. It can't be 6 hours. And I'm like, yeah, but today I didn't have anything to do. So I dropped everything. You know, I dropped my life. I dropped my kids. I dropped everything, because at that moment, it's not even me anymore. I'm on autopilot. Okay. Got you. So the retreats are the best way for me to do it, so that I know that if I organize 2 retreats a year and I take a certain number of daikinis, I am there for them. And when I'm with them one-on-one, and I do the work, and I know that it's for a specific amount of time. And when I'm done with the retreat, I can detach myself, because the session, the whole retreat is over, which I was not able to do when I did one-on-one sessions, or even Skype or Zoom sessions, because it's not possible for me to do it. But when I have a retreat, it's like a formal setting. It's an umbrella. It's a protection for me as well. Yeah. But the great thing about it is that you get all of me. And it's not because me, but the reason why I'm a great healer is because I'm a great vessel. When I come to you, I come with thousands and thousands of my tribe, of my ancestors. Doctors of the skies show up. Ascended masters show up. Your ancestors show up. Sometimes in some sessions, I will tell you, in the beginning, I felt like, oh my God, I'm cheating those ladies. Sometimes I just lay down next to you. They just come out of me.
Yeah.
Come out of me. You have a village and they're healing. When they're done, they come back inside of me and they go back.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't even have to do anything. I don't have to impose my hands. I don't have to do anything on you. Sometimes when they just tell me, lay there. And you're just there. You don't even know you. And then you tell them, oh my God, this happened. In the beginning, I would tell my clients, I was like, should I tell them? I was just staying, literally falling asleep next to them.
Yeah.
And I let my guides and my ancestors do the work. So it's not even me. Yeah. My ability is to let them work and to be a pure vessel. And I have a discipline of life. I don't drink. I don't even like that, because I was packaged in a way that was really serving my purpose, because you would give me a glass of champagne, I would take a photo with it, but I don't even enjoy alcohol. So things like that, naturally, because I know that I am a temple. And in order to host divine beings of high frequency, I have to keep myself, in a specific vibration. Otherwise, they can't come through me. So the retreat is going to be amazing, because you have both. You have the notion of you learning to know yourself, tap into the sexual power, know the knowledge, and actually having a real healing one-on-one. And the great part is really the baths, and that's why I talked about nudity and stuff like that.
Baths.
Yeah. I'm going to be washing the hell out of people. Like really, goddess bath. And that's why I told you about the actual Venusian initiation, the way I was initiated. Through fire, scarification, and baths. That's what happens when I need to be purified. I go to Venus, and that's what they do. That's what Ishtar does to me. That's what Black Lakshmi does. That's what Shun does. Isis, when she comes, it's really, it's that. It's, first of all, scarification. It's like literally what they used to do, or actually they do in West Africa, literally cutting, bleeding.
Wow.
Releasing the poison out of your body. I won't do that, but that's why I talked about blood rituals.
Yes.
And the scarification for me in the retreat is going to be about the pain, because we start with the pain. We start with looking at the pain, facing our fears, facing our trauma, releasing, experiencing the real Shakti energy in our womb, because she needs a space to scream.
Yes.
So that's, it's a venue for that. And then once you're done with that, it's just a journey of understanding how to embrace, what we're here to do, which is experiencing pleasure. We manifest naturally through pleasure.
Yeah.
How to moan, really. How you're going to realize, oh my God, when I moan, I roar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the goddess aspect, the honoring, the way you see, like, in the old movies, like Coming to America, you see how, like, in Africa, how it was done. You don't wash yourself. You are washed.
Yeah.
You are a divinity.
Yeah.
And that's found in every single culture. And it is a Venusian thing. It's a Venusian ritual. Bathing, water energy, Mamiwata energy, Yemaya energy, Oshun energy. It's always about the stream and the water, the ocean. It's about washing and the energy that comes, the force that comes with water.
Yeah.
So it's key. You can't do a Venusian rite ritual if you don't include that. And that's why I will be there. And so that's the retreat for you.
I am so excited. Because I plan to be at that retreat. And I think that you gave all the details. I said, wow, that's amazing.
It's going to be, did you see my devotion cover? Devotion album cover? The visual? No, not the retreat, the devotion Parvati mantra.
With your legs like this?
This is going to be,
yes.
This is going to be the main posture, the main position for the retreat.
Okay.
Everything is going to happen in that position. Only one position.
Okay.
Legs straight open. receiving healing, everything. You're going to give birth to yourself.
Ashe. I'm so excited. That sounds so beautiful.
Yeah. Like maybe for me, I was like, if it wasn't for winter, I would have done it sooner, and I was like, okay, April, because it's kind of warm. So April, otherwise I wouldn't have done it like, oh.
So for the Selfish Babes listening, first, make sure to take her course, which is called
Goddess Life Transformation.
Yes. And you can find that. I think I'm going to have your website link below. So I'm going to have the website link below, but do you have it from the top of your head just to say it?
Because I don't know. The luxuryspiritual.com, and I think it's Goddess Course.
Yes. So the luxury spiritual,
something like that. Yeah.
Yes. So go to the luxuryspiritual.com to find her course.
And it's tedious. It's tedious. Let me just say, okay? It's not something. I really want women who are ready, or feminines who are ready.
Yeah.
Because I'm rich.
Yeah.
So it's not, and there are billions of people in the world.
Yeah.
So I don't need one person to buy my course.
Yeah.
I know the course is the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And if you do it, devote yourself to it, because for me, the most important thing is that you become a brand ambassador of Goddess Spirituality.
That's shame.
That's it. If you're not ready, go on YouTube and do Law of Attraction.
Okay, Ms. Pravala.
and we'll talk again in 3 years when you're ready.
I love that. So in terms of those who are ready, would you just suggest them to fill out the form on your website?
Yeah, I mean, if they have questions, definitely, probably, email us. Yeah. It's not me receiving the emails. Let me just make it clear. But I approve everything.
Yeah.
And I answer everything. So it comes first come, first serve. Granted that I get hundreds of emails a day. So if it's urgent, if you want more information, whatever, you can email us, contact@misspravala.com.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you're ready to jump, just go to the course and you buy the course. This year, I even put a payment plan, 3 months, because the course is 90 days. So you can buy like chapters one by one. Yeah. Which if you're not sure, or if you don't know yet how to manifest money for healing, for self or spiritual development, might be, or if you're hesitating, you can go, paying it in installment, which is not even like a membership thing. You can pay for the first month and not ever come back if you're not ready. So it's not like I'm charging you like a payment thing that I get every month or whatever. Yeah. I don't do that because, I love my money. I don't ever want anyone to feel like
chokehold. I got it.
Yes. It has to be like a pleasure thing. Yeah. So, but definitely dedicate yourself to it. It's a 3-month thing for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't do like 1 month and then come back 2 years later, which I have had actually a couple of times this month. And I send them emails. Oh my God, they were like apologetic afterwards because I was really annoyed. They're like, oh, I took the course in 2019 and I don't have the links anymore. I'm like, you took it 2 years ago? Exactly. Just because
people do that, they get on my nerves.
Exactly. So I said, well, no, I send you the link for the payment. That pretty much, because you're not serious about your own development. Yes. Why should I, 2 years later? Yeah. So if you want things to happen, and for me, that's why I'm always manifesting fast. I go fearless about manifestation. I don't hesitate. I don't care what the 3D is showing me. I am certain because I see things with my inner eyes, not with my physical eyes. Sure. So ignore the 3D. Yeah. You tell yourself, I'm giving myself 3 months to do this, and I'm actually doing it for 3 months. And all of the things that need to happen to block you from doing it are going to happen, because that's what your ego is for, because you're going against beliefs and whatever and resistance. The more resistance you have about it, the more reason you should do it.
Oh, that's so good, Ms. Pravala. That's so good. No, I'm telling you, that's so good. Because even just for me, I'm like, I know there's certain things I want to be doing or that I want to be doing, but then things come up. And so when you said that, I was just like, yes, that's so true. That's so true.
As a lazy Venusian, I would say I'm the first Procrastination is my talent, my natural talent. If I lean into procrastination and lingering on my couch and calling people like, bring me water, whatever, I could be doing this and never ever bring a project to the surface.
Yeah.
But I crush things. When I'm divinely called, I don't care. I don't care. It has to be done. I'm on a mandate. And that's how you should. It's your life. It's you becoming you. So,
okay.
And especially if, you can buy a purse, you can buy, for women like me, you can buy extensions, wigs, human hair, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can invest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more resistance, the more, it shows you that there's something that needs to be done.
A shame. Yeah. My final question with you, Ms. Pravala, is what does life look like for you retired? What are you going to do?
Okay. My life for me retired is a lot more traveling.
Yeah.
But no more traveling in places where I don't know. The only place I wanted to go last year that I haven't gone to yet somehow is Brazil.
Oh, wow.
So Brazil was the last destination, the last Venusian spot where I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
So me retired is traveling more and actually having my goddesses negotiate with the goddesses and the gods of my kids and my divine masculine to see how this can fit into our whole life together.
Yeah.
Because I love certain things and I want to do more of it. So I already have money coming when I sleep. So that's not an issue.
Yeah.
So retirement for me, yes, it's more traveling and more wealth for my kids. It's that, really, just leaving them with claiming back their own royal seat on this earth. And being able to actually transform even my YouTube presence to being more freestyle, meaning that having actually someone filming me and following me to show what it means to live the goddess lifestyle.
Yeah.
More looking like, instead of me explaining, which I've already explained, and there are ways you can go and find my teachings and my, the way I perceive things and my, this spirituality, but actually seeing what it feels like for me, on a daily basis, how I ritualize my life.
Yeah.
Without me explaining, now I'm drinking sexy Oni tea. And for some reason, I bought a tea set of full ceramic porcelain, and it's royal in it. And all of my life is like that. And why do I love, classical music? Why do I like equestrian races or horse races? Why do I like this lifestyle, the opera? Things that may be even foreign for some people and that I naturally love doing. Yeah. So it would still be work, but not work in the sense of me doing something, but me being followed around, because I don't have that aspect. And also keeping 2 retreats a year.
Nice.
Because I know that this is still something that I need to grow. I need to touch more people physically.
Yeah.
And this is probably something that I'm going to do until the day I die, actually. Okay. But doing it in a way where it's not me organizing anymore, but I have everything set up so that I just show up and be me.
Yes,
yeah.
I should. I love
that.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. Miss Pravala, thank you so much. I totally enjoyed the conversation, everything you had to say. I know my selfish babes are enjoying the conversation as they're listening now. And I just really want to thank you, for walking in your truth, for walking in your purpose, for being your authentic self, and for honoring yourself. I'm very grateful for your presence and your teachings and your perspective in my life. And I'm just grateful for you to show up. So thank you very, very much for showing up.
I would say my pleasure. It boils down to that. My pleasure. I couldn't be doing anything else.
Yeah.
And I did what I'm doing now when it was not popular to say those things.
Yeah. When
I got hatred messages for saying what I was saying. When my husband starting a business and within 2 years going from leaving a high-paying job as a young banker, but holding the highest position, and starting his own business, and within 2 years being from starting the business and working from our living room to 2 years later having 1,500 employees all over the world and building a real empire, and still having messages saying he's succeeding because his wife is a witch. And not understanding that, yes, that's the role of a feminine, yes, is to know her power and to feed that into love, into a sacred relationship. And of course, I'm a creator of wealth.
Yeah.
And why should that be wrong? I mean, wealth, gold, diamonds, emeralds, all come from God. Why is it a bad thing to have them? Why do you see people having wealth and seeing it as evil? So you actually don't believe in God, since those things are God created.
Yeah.
So that's really the goal, understanding who you are, divine, honoring the divine essence, listening to the divine messages, and honoring yourself as a divine being. That's what it means to be a goddess. And when you do that, of course, you're only doing what you love, and you only flourish doing what you love, period.
Sure.
So that's my wish, for everyone to be living in their authenticity and learning what it means to really love yourself, to really look at yourself and see beyond, and still seeing how amazingly beautiful you are and how God sees you as the best creation ever.
Sure.
So that's that.
Thank you so much, Miss Pravala.
You're welcome.
So grateful. I'm going to have all of her links below for my selfish babes listening. Make sure you check her out, watch her YouTube, follow her on Instagram, and sign up for the course. I think the course is something that's really special that, she's poured her energy into. And so check that out if you're ready for your transformation.
Thank you.